The Stoeger STR-9SC. Let's check it out. Stoeger's known for its shotguns, but in 2019 they introduced their first striker fire polymer frame pistols. It was the STR-9. They also had the STR-9SC, which we recently did a review on. A good quality firearm, and actually the price comes in very reasonable. Today we're going to be taking a look at the STR-9SC, which is for subcompact. And this is really about the same size as your Glock 26. While there are some features that are very similar to Glock, there are some pretty major differences, but the fit and finish of these are really excellent. Now, Stoeger pistols are actually manufactured down in Turkey, but under German engineering. And so these are coming in at a really good price, and yet it has a lot of quality behind the designs. And Turkey is producing some really nice firearms. Now, we really appreciate Nate over at GunZoneDeals for sending the Stoeger STR-9SC for this review. And guys, they do furnish a lot of guns for us to be able to bring reviews to show you guys what's out there, and we really appreciate it. All right, guys, we have the Stoeger STR-9SC, and that is for subcompact. It is a very small, compact, concealed carry size pistol. Polymer frame, striker fire, very nice. Black nitride slide on here, and there are some good quality features. But one of the big things about this gun is it comes in at a very reasonable price. The retail price for this is $329. Market price at GunZoneDeals is $229. That's less than $230. And once we go through this, you'll see that, I mean, this gun really outperforms its price range. So first, let's go ahead and drop our 10-round magazine. Now, you'll notice that it is a steel magazine. We have made in Italy, which is typically Metgar made. So Metgar makes some of the best mags out there. They make magazines for a number of different gun companies. And then we have a small little finger groove here. And then, check, the gun is unloaded. Also, they do have a flat base plate that is an option as well. And so that way you can get the grip just a little bit smaller. It does have a slight bevel in the mag well, and so it allows for those magazines with the taper on the mag to make this really easy to insert. And two, it's a very positive click when you insert that magazine. So I really think that, number one, that just shows a lot of quality there. Sometimes guns, when you're putting in the magazine, kind of a mediocre click. This is a good solid click. Now, it has a polymer frame. One thing, it has a back strap, and the back strap, to me, is very reminiscent of your Smith & Wesson M&Ps, your earlier ones that just kind of fit in. And so that is a little different than your Glock. Here front, we have the same texturing, but we have a slight little finger rise right here. And also, it really comes up and undercuts really well. And undercut is important to get a very high grip on the pistol. And so this allows you to do that. Glock actually comes down just a little bit more, and we're going to compare this to the Glock 26 when we get really into it. One thing, it has a 3-slot Picatinny rail, which gives you lights and laser options. It comes with a flat face trigger already. It does have the standard trigger shoe. Slide is a black nitride slide, and it is very well finished. I mean, I am very impressed with the finish on this gun. And then these really deep, aggressive cocking serrations. I mean, they are deep and nice and aggressive, and also matching here at the front for press checks. The sights are a 3-dot sight, well done. They are steel. You can get a night sight version. Now that's one thing, there are a lot of options with these. You can also get an optics ready version. You can also get extra back straps. But this particular model at the lowest price comes with one magazine, one back strap. But one of the things that really impressed me was the original Stoeger STR-9SC. And this is just a compact version, a little bit larger. It holds 13 plus 1. Again, we use those steel magazines. And then, of course, let's go ahead and check the gun's unloaded. But this, to me, once I took this out to the range, I mean, it is a very nice shooting gun in itself. Now, one of the things about these double stack magazines that are still retaining that kind of thickness is that when you get down to some of these micro 9s that have the very thin grips, which personally I like. I carry a P365 a lot of times because it is a very small handgun. But the shootability of some of these guns, it gives you a little bit larger grip. It gives you a little more control over the firearm, and they're just more of a pleasure to shoot. And so that is one of the appeals of this size pistol. It's a little bit harder to conceal because it's just a touch thicker, but to be honest, you know, if you're carrying this, you won't really know the difference. And so there are a lot of advantages to having that double stack magazine that's not necessarily a micro 9. Our slide stop has a little bit of an extension to it, very Glock-like, and your takedown levers are again Glock-like. Now your magazine release right here, and it can be switched to the other side. With the Gen 3 Glocks, you can't switch it to the other side. And the internal parts in here, and once we break this down, you're going to see that honestly it has a lot of Glock inspiration. And we're seeing a lot of these Glock clones come out that even take Glock mags. But since the Gen 3 patents expired, you know, we're continuing to see upgrades. Now, we do have a Glock Model 26 right here, and I would be remiss not to kind of put these two together because this is kind of the benchmark. There's a lot of other pistols that are this same size, but this is one of the first. And so we're going to put these together. And one thing I want you to notice right up front is that with the Glock, there is more of a hump right here, whereas with the Stoeger, it comes more into a straighter line. It still has a little bit of a rise right here, but it's definitely less of that little Glock hump, which personally, because I've been shooting Glocks for around 30 years, I'm used to it. You know, it's great. But having that little bit of a more straight grip angle gives you a more natural grip angle. Also, the undercut here, it's definitely improved with the Stoeger. It comes up a little higher. One thing with the Glocks is you'll get Glock knuckle when you shoot this a lot. And you're putting your finger up here and it just wears. And so typically I will relieve some of this area, and I have on a number of my Glocks. In fact, I've still got a callus right here from Glock knuckle for shooting during a class where I shot a lot of rounds. But with this 26, there's no accessory rail, rear serrations, no front serrations. On a lot of the new Glocks, they are putting the front serrations. And the Glock is a great pistol. And again, I've carried the Glock 26 for at least 12 years. And so I'm a big fan of the Glock. But when we're talking about price at about $500 compared to $229, it really makes things kind of turn around. Your perspective kind of changes. Now, some guys are just going to stick with Glock, and I understand that. I'm kind of a little bit of a snob myself. But when it comes to those who are on a budget and really need to pick up something that has good quality and yet the price is right, I think this is going to be a great option, and we'll continue to look at some of the details. One other pistol that comes in at a budget price is your Taurus G3c. And these are just excellent. You know, I'll say Taurus really has upped their game over the past few years. And this one is a 12+1, and so it gives you a little bit more mag capacity. But when we put them side by side, you know, it does come down just a little bit more. Of course, this is an extension without any extra round. So if you get the flat base plate, it's going to make it, you know, considerably shorter, about a ½ inch. One thing that surprised me is with the slide, STR-9SC comes out just a little bit more. The barrel on the STR-9C is 3.5 inches, and I believe on the G3C it's 3 inches or just a touch over. You will notice that this is the Taurus model because it has optics plates, but without the optics plate, just the standard G3C runs really close to the STR-9SC. In fact, I think it was $232 on GunZoneDeals. But one thing that I really like about the Stoeger is the finish on the slide. And with the Taurus, which this is still a nice finish, it's more of a matte finish. And so to me, this gives it just a little bit more appealing look. You know, is it more wear resistant? I mean, time will tell, but really you apply just a little bit of a coat of oil on this or lubricant and it really comes out nice. So, you know, really it's just kind of a matter of preference. Now here at the top, we do have a loaded chamber indicator, and when you have a round in the chamber, this will pop up to let you know that the gun is loaded. With the optics ready version, they had to do away with that to put the optics plate on. And so you just have a gap right here at the end of the barrel, and you can see the brass through it. So that is your loaded chamber indicator. But the serrations on the grip are very aggressive, and you can see these pyramid shapes. It really allows you to get a good solid grip on it. And honestly, even with this little finger bump, it gives you that front to back grip. And so you really feel like you've got a solid grip on the handgun when you're firing it. And you know, that's one thing that's very important, these two areas. But even here, with that aggressive texturing, it just kind of fits in your hand nicely. Has that little thumb rest right here. Putting your thumbs forward, you know, you can just rest it right here. A lot of companies are putting memory pads right here. Remind you to put your thumb there, and it does help mitigate the recoil. With this, it's just pretty much a smooth finish right here. I like the slide cut right here because it does bevel that down. And one thing that I do like is the top, how it is kind of rounded off. Here with the Glock, it just looks thicker, and it's just not as beveled down. So this gives it more of a streamlined look to it. And with the Taurus, it is still flattened out as well, even though it does bevel a little bit. But again, the Stoeger comes in, to me, more appealing as far as the slide shape and design. I'll just be honest, guys. For a budget pistol, this to me just makes a great choice. For us gun guys, definitely we have a budget for guns. But for a lot of people that are just looking for a good quality firearm, you know, they're not into guns. They just want something for self-defense. To me, this makes a great choice, especially if you're on a budget, but to be honest with you, even if you're not. Now, the one downside to this gun is that the magazines are about 35 bucks a piece. But, you know, Taurus, the magazines are about $23 a piece. So, you know, there is a cheaper magazine option with the Taurus. But with the Stoeger, again, you can get the 3-mag option. Or you can get, you know, a number of different options on this. And really, it gives you a lot of choices. Weight on the STR-9C. 1 pound, 6.8 ounces. Weight on the Glock 26. 1 pound, 6 ounces. And weight on the Taurus G3c. 1 pound, 6 ounces. Now for these small firearms, a lot of times the lights are too big, and that's one thing I like about the Olight Baldor Mini Series. These are excellent, and they come in laser lights, but you can adjust these to fit almost any size. And once it's locked down, it's solid, and you can recharge it right on your firearm. And Olight does offer a 10% discount, and there is a link down below in the description. But guys, honestly, there's a lot of different lights out there that are small that you can fit on these really compact or subcompact firearms. Now, as far as the trigger action, now this is more of your flat face trigger. On the original STR-9C, it has more of the curved trigger. So they've kind of done a little bit of an upgrade here. Has that little trigger shoe that's a safety that keeps you from inadvertently pulling that trigger unless you have a full grip on the trigger. And so we're going to check the trigger action. A little bit of take up right here, and it hits a wall. Little bit of resistance, and a nice break. Similar to a Glock, but I feel like that it may be a little better. And then we're going to check for reset right there. Not a bad trigger, not hugely exceptional. I know on the original Stoegers, when they were first introduced, they had a heavy trigger pull. And these are much better. And right here with the Glock, we have the take-up has resistance as you're pulling it. And then when you hit that wall, little resistance, and then a break. Very similar to the Stoeger, but honestly, I like the Stoeger trigger just a little better. And guys, I'm a Glock guy. I'm just telling you. Now let's check the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 3 pounds, 13.6 ounces. 4 pounds, 4 ounces. Really about the 4 pound range, and That's a lot better than the originals, and to be honest with you, that's not a bad trigger. Now with the original STR-9C, we're going to go ahead and check the magazine compatibility, and they should be fine. But this just gives you an extended magazine. Of course, you can't put the shorter mag in that longer grip, but that way you have a little bit of capability. Now as far as the sights go, sight compatibility with other companies, I haven't seen anything, but there are a number of companies that make sights for the Stoeger. One of the reasons is because this has become a very popular option. Because of the price, it just makes this really attractive to a lot of people. When it comes to holster options, it's going to be a little more difficult to get holsters than it is with some other companies, but I've seen a number of different companies producing holsters. Now if you're going to get the holster and you want to light with it, that's, you know, maybe a little more difficult to find. Obviously these have become more popular, and so holster companies are coming out with different models. Now with a small pistol like this, typically you'll expect a little more muzzle rise, a little more muzzle flip with that short barrel. But honestly, because of those dual recoil springs, and it's the same thing Glock did with their Model 26, it really tames the recoil. The 26 doesn't have any more muzzle rise than the Glock 19 or even the Glock 17. I mean, it just shoots, but it's got a really short grip. Same thing with this, but with that little lip on the magazine, it gives it, you know, a good place to grip. You feel like you have a full hand grip on the pistol. And also these slide serrations. Magazines go in easy, slide serrations, I mean, they're very positive. I really like those deep cut serrations. But when you're firing the gun, I mean, it's definitely low muzzle rise. I mean, you just have control of the gun. And I think a lot of that has to do also with the grip. The grip gives you a good, firm, solid feel. You have a lot of confidence in it. So I'm just really pleased with this gun, especially at a budget price, but even not. I mean, it seems to be a really good shooting firearm. The only one thing that I have a little issue with is we've had a couple of times where the slide didn't lock back. And happened on the first magazine, so I was like, well, breaking it in. But this is actually the third time that the magazine hadn't held back. And we've shot about 12 magazines through it so far. So just something that, you know, might be a little bit of a concern in a sense. But overall, really pleased, really enjoyed it, and even for a small pistol. One thing's for certain, this gun is accurate. Comes to disassembly, drop your magazine, check the chamber, go ahead and pull the trigger in a safe direction. Now pull back on your slide about 1/8 of an inch and just pull down on your takedown tabs. And then the slide comes off. If you're not really gripping these takedown tabs all the way down, sometimes it gets a little hung up. Really nice guide rod and guide rod spring. It is dual, it is captive, and this really helps to mitigate the recoil. Then we have our barrel. I mean, really very Glock-like. We have our striker safety right here. The finish inside is just a little bit more, it's not polished, it's more of a matte finish. But I don't really see any tooling marks or anything in here. So, but very Glock-like. Then when it comes to the frame, obviously, I mean, we're looking at your standard Gen 3 Glock design. And so, which, guys, one thing about the Gen 3 or any of the Glocks, the big plus for the Glocks is its simplicity. And so if you can take that simplicity and you can use that for a design, it's just an excellent way. And it makes it more durable, more reliable. And guys, that's all you need to do to field strip. For reassembly, just drop your barrel in. Bring in your recoil spring and guide rod, frame back with the slide, test for function, and we're good to go. Pros and cons. Big pro, the price. Retail again, $329. GunZoneDeals, $229. That is a great price for a good quality gun. You're not going to beat it. Very nice slide. I mean, very well done. I love the black nitride finish on it. The serrations are excellent. The texturing all throughout, the grip, very well done as well, and that undercut's nice. Accessory rail, definitely a big plus, and it's not too obtrusive. But styling on here is just well done. It's surprising, honestly. 10-round magazine, but this is one of the subcompacts. And again, you can get that little just straight base pad to make it even shorter. Sights are nice, good outline, good white outline. You can get the night sights with it. Of course, you can get optics plates for it. You can get that model. You can get the ones with the packages of 3 extra mags. And I mean, there's a lot of different deals and different configurations. And again, you can go with the C model, the compact, which is a little bit larger. You can go with the full size. There's tactical models. There's just a lot of offerings with this design, which I like. And that's one of the things about Turkey that's really good, is they're very quick to adapt, to modify, to change, and they put out some really good quality products. And again, you've got the Stoeger engineers that are there to make sure that quality control stays right on par. A lot of pluses. Now, as far as negatives, magazines are about 35 bucks a piece. That's a little bit expensive, not super expensive, but definitely a good quality magazine. I like the metal. Yes, this could have taken Glock mags, but it doesn't. In fact, I even tried to fit one in. It doesn't work. As far as other cons, guys, there's just not a lot of cons. It's just a good, solid pistol for the money. And at $229, I mean, yes, you're only getting one magazine and one back strap. But typically, I don't change out my back straps that often. And magazines, you know, if you are on a serious budget but you really need a gun, this is a great way to go. And you can pick up those extra magazines when you can. But a lot of people that are going to purchase this gun for self-defense, a truck gun, they're not necessarily gun guys. They just want something that's solid that they can rely on. And I think that this will fit the bill. So guys, if you're looking for a good, solid, quality, concealed carry option that won't break the bank, check out the Stoeger series. The STR-9 pistols are excellent. And with the STR-9C, I mean, we were really impressed with that pistol. But now with the SC, it brings it down to that subcompact size, and man, it makes it an excellent concealed carry option. And it gives you more money for ammo. And again, we really do appreciate the guys over at GunZoneDeals for sending the STR-9SC for this review. Those guys really help us out a lot, and we really do appreciate it. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America, long live the Republic. They're just good and solid. Okay. It's the STR-9SC. I don't want to get into that without safety checking. Porter, you need a safety check. Good gosh. Stoeger's known for its shotguns. While Stoeger's manufacturing their handguns in Turkey, these are, is it in Turkey? But I think they've actually made some upgrades even with this newer model. Okay, I don't know that. Or don't know that for sure. I don't know, so don't say it if you don't know it.